It's been 12 days since 6 students were abducted from the Lagos State Model College in AHMED.
The Lagos State government has rolled out negotiation with the kidnappers who are reported to have reduced the ransom to about 100 million naira for the students. The police has arrested 3 persons in connection with the kidnap. When will the students regain their freedom?
All right, joining us now to discuss this and other issues relating to the school abductions, security analyst AHMED Kadiri. AHMED, good morning.
Morning, guys.
It's quite a while now. Nice to see you.
In a while.
Okay, now the students that have been abducted, the story has been on the lips of every Nigerian, not just even in Lagos, because talking about security concerns and all of that. But there are much criticism from so many quarters when the government is saying that they're not ready to negotiate, and the parents are saying that the government has abandoned or neglected them. What's your take on this?
Basically, no government comes out outwardly to say that we negotiate with kidnappers, we negotiate with terrorists. Basically, you always have to give that front that you don't negotiate with people who do not, how will I put it, who walk outside the confines of the law. But covertly, these negotiations do take place in order to get things done. So I believe that Lagos State government will do whatever is necessary behind the scenes to get these children back to the safety of their homes.
That's usually the case behind the scene, but that's not what is happening now. It's in the open, really. We know now that something is going on. If they are reducing what they asked for from 400, 200, and now to 100 million, something must be going on within, some haggling is going on really within the kidnappers and those representing the government.
Definitely, I think the cat has been let out of the bag, so to speak. So those negotiations, we all know that those negotiations are taking place, but they have to, like I said, in order to get these children back to safety. Now, there are other issues that might be involved, or that I want to say personally. These people are getting too emboldened to do what they do, because from my own take, not enough is being done by law enforcement agencies to really crack down on kidnapping. It's become a very lucrative business because they know that most of the time they get away with it and they make a lot of money from it. So what does that mean? It means that the security agencies have failed in their own functions in protecting lives and property. So until such a time that we take adequate steps to curb this menace, we'll continue to see this. And take the school, for instance. This incident occurred before. Now, the school did not take any measures in putting security apparatus in place.
We're told that security men were sent to that school when it happened, right? We had a guest yesterday, and that was out there in the open. The security men were there. As at even when this particular attack took place, this kidnapping took place, we're told there were security personnel also available on ground. So well, some have said perhaps some breach of trust is going on there within those who are actually assigned to watch over the students.
No, security men are obviously not doing their jobs. If they were security men and these people were still able to come in through the creeks, where were they when they were breaking through the fence, came in, abducted the students and left? So where were the security men? So basically, there was no security apparatus in place as far as I'm concerned, because if concrete measures were taken after that first incident, you have light, you have cameras, you have every apparatus there to secure the lives of children, for God's sake. I don't think this will have occurred the second time. So as far as I'm concerned, the school failed in securing these children whom the parents have entrusted to them. What explanation are you going to give the parents? You don't have anything to tell them other than you failed in securing the lives of these children.
All right, if I have to take it from there, when you're talking about the school failing, the school is of the state government. Who should be responsible for that? Is it the school or the government?
The government. The government owns the school. So
okay, so in other words, the government has failed.
Yes. They have failed in securing the lives of these children.
All right, let's go back to the issue of negotiations, because these issues keep recurring and recurring. When government, any government, state, federal, as the case may be, say, we don't negotiate. But the kidnappers, we're beginning to see that there's a syndicate. Even the ones who kidnap, maybe in Cross River State, will have a link with the ones in Lagos State, will have a link with the one in Edo State, for instance. When they all know that it is commonplace, government will not come to say, but they negotiate. What difference does it really make when government comes out to say we don't negotiate, but they do behind the scenes?
One word, posturing.
Sorry, say it again.
Posturing.
Posturing, okay.
Government has to keep up that front that they do not negotiate with kidnappers. It happens all over the world. The British will tell you, oh, we don't negotiate with the IRA. The US government will tell you, oh, we don't negotiate with terrorists. But we all know that it still happens. You cannot come out to say that I negotiate with a kidnapper. You just have to keep up that facade, that posturing that we don't negotiate with these people. The federal government negotiated with Boko Haram. How else did we get those girls out? So it's something that you just have to keep up that front, because you cannot be seen as a soft target by saying that you negotiate with terrorists. You have to keep up the impression that you have to be boxed into a corner to do it. But
yeah, but the concern here is whether you keep up that face, but those who are in the business really know what it is. So
what the government, they're in the business, they know the nitty-gritty of it. But you see, on the part of the government, what you should do is to come down hard on these people. You know it's going to occur. You know sometime, but when you make an example of one or two, when you really put your security apparatus in place, your intelligence, first of all, before you bring in the people who are now actually going to hit hard on these targets. You really have to do a lot of hard work to make this business unattractive for those who want to get into it.
If you stay with this case study that we have right now, like we mentioned earlier, this happened last year in that same school.
Yes.
The girls, the students were rescued. Apparently, that means the kidnappers were apprehended.
Yes.
But we didn't hear about the prosecution of the kidnappers.
Precisely.
That's perhaps what you're talking about.
Yes.
But let's look at the how lucrative the business is in terms of the region where they operate. Yesterday we were discussing with our senior producer, and it was like those who operate within the northern area and those who operate within the southern area, some kind of disparity in terms of exposure and and greed.
Yes.
You understand that a member of House of Rep was kidnapped a few days ago, and just a day after he was released, perhaps with some negotiation going on there. What is the difference between that part of the divide and this part of the country?
Well, I think it all depends. The location doesn't really matter. I think it depends on the sort of target that has been acquired here. The member of the House of Reps is seen as a very lucrative target, and he will most likely be willing to part with an attractive sum of money in order to gain his freedom. So it depends on how lucrative the target is. It doesn't.
So it's not about the location.
It's not about the location. If the target is good enough, because they did not just see the member of the house on the street and it's something that was planned, and they knew that they will be able to make good money from kidnapping this individual, and I believe they succeeded in doing just that. Now, in the same vein, these kidnappers have seen this secondary school as a soft target. It's been done before, and they believe they could do it again. And they did not just on a whim decide to go there. They did their homework and carried out the act.
Okay, now it is obvious that, or it seems obvious, or it feels obvious that the government is doing what it can do to rescue these children that have been, or students that have been kidnapped. But the parents are saying that government has neglected them. how involved should the parents be in this process? Even if they're not involved in the meetings and all of that, what should be the kind of engagement or interface between the government, what they are doing, and assuring the parents of their children's rescue?
The government should, at regular intervals, let the parents understand what they are doing. The parents should be involved in every step of these negotiations or whatever steps are being taken to get these children back to the parents. They should be constantly informed. You can't put them in the dark. They shouldn't be put in the dark. So they should be given adequate information whenever it's necessary to. Sometimes you just have to keep some things away from parents because they get too emotional. And you do not need emotions in tackling some of these problems. So definitely you're going to keep the parents out of the picture. But whenever it is absolutely necessary, you inform the parents, okay, this and this is what has happened, and this is, you know, keep their hopes alive, and do not deceive them as much as possible. Number one, you should have a proof of life. You should ensure that these children are actually alive. That settles their emotions to a certain extent. So as long as you keep them in the picture and inform them as at when due, it will be able to, it will help.
All right. Let's quickly touch on the issue of paradigm shift. We have the Commissioner of Police a while ago here saying security should not just be left at the doorstep of the government. It is your duty as a Nigerian to be security conscious. How can how can even this parent association come in and protect their children, protect their words?
Security is everybody's business. It's your business, it's my business. Now, in terms of institutions like schools, this is where the PTA has to really come together. If they have to contribute in ensuring that security infrastructure is built in these schools, so be it. Because we're talking about the lives of their children here. I would gladly join a PTA meeting and contribute my quota to ensuring that the schools in which my children attend are secure. So the PTA in these schools, and not just this school, in all schools across the country, should get their acts together to ensure that their children are safe.
Okay. Now, Lagos State remains the state with the highest investments in security, with helicopters, with boats, with power bikes, cars, and gadgets, and all of that. And this is still happening in Lagos State, not the first time, not the second time. What is really lacking? One expects that when you have all of these kidnappings and some of this kind of extreme criminal activity shouldn't be happening in Lagos State.
It's one thing to have them, it's another thing to use them effectively.
Okay.
How effective is Lagos State using these infrastructures, investing in? I haven't really seen those choppers flying around patrolling. I really haven't. Maybe some other people have, but I haven't. So how effective, to what effective use is Lagos State government using its security infrastructure? That's the question we should be asking. Okay.
All right. AHMED Kadiri, thank you very much for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me.